We are.
What is good? We're off to a strong start as always, Mike.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm Paul Ryan, your host of the Across the Cowboys podcast. This podcast is part of the Across the Board Sports podcast family. If you're new to the show, thank you for joining us. And to our regular listeners, you're used to our BS. With me as with me tonight, as always, is my co-host, the greatest co-host in the world, Mike the Pig Crum. Mike, how are you?
I'm back to the greatest co-host in the world. It's been a couple weeks where it was like some other stuff.
We got a little weird last week, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. I feel like every episode just starts off, since we've gotten on StreamYard, every episode just starts off with us laughing in the first 5 seconds. Oh man, it's fun.
Well, hey, you know, with the way the Cowboys season ended, all we can do is laugh, right, Mike?
Yes. Your window's a little wavy. You're
My
good.
window's wavy?
Yeah, it was hopping. You know the like if you were moving your knee.
Oh yeah.
That one, there it is. Yep.
Dude, if you saw the desk I'm working with, it's ridiculous. It's not my monitor almost like hangs over it, dude. Seriously, it's ridiculous.
I have mine on my bed. I might have thrown it on the bed. I'm like, perfect.
The beauty of a laptop.
Yeah, it's nice. This was a good buy. I'll be paying it off for another 6 months, maybe, depending on if that Cowboys wire money comes in.
There you go.
Oh, back pay. Yes.
So, I mean, you know, I haven't, I know a lot of things get lost in the fold, Mike, but when was the last time, what was the latest article you released?
I wrote one on Christian Watson that's been submitted like 10 days ago or whatever. And you keep seeing these other profiles come out, and I'm like, does mine suck, or does nobody like Christian Watson? What happened? Like, I don't know, but I'm gonna pump them out and submit them for review, and hopefully they put them out, or tell me like, hey, you suck, we don't want to put these out, or something's going on. I don't know, but there should be a Christian Watson one out soon. I'm finishing Jermaine Johnson now, and then I have, God, let me look at my list. I have a few draft debates that I need to get ready for. You're going to be one of them included, like we did last year. But I have, here we go. I got Jermaine Johnson. I got Kyler Gordon. I got Nick Bonito, Damone Clark, who I love. He's got some
linebacker, sir.
Man. Quay Walker, Georgia linebacker.
Yeah.
Ed Ingram, who's quickly becoming one of my favorites. I want Dallas to get value-wise. Isaac Taylor Stewart, Damian Pierce, I believe that's how you pronounce it, Trey Turner, and my favorite name of the draft, Smoke Monday.
Hey, Smokey.
I've done that a couple times today.
Smoke, and I have to assume he's a cornerback, yes?
Corner safety. God, he's still a ways away.
I love that name though, dude.
It's beautiful. Is he a corner or a safety? He is a 6'3", 200-pound senior. Auburn. That's how far I've gotten on him. I just loved his name, so I put it down. I mock drafted him a couple times, but I don't remember if he was a safety or a corner. 6'3", that size feels like safety, but you never know.
I know last week, I think it was maybe Thursday or Friday, you shared a mock draft there on Twitter, Mike, that you said were 4D approved. You know, let the people know where they can find you on Twitter.
At CD Piglet, guys. Nice and easy.
Guys, I'm Paul Ryan. You can find me on Twitter at Paul_Ryan15. Well, Mike, we've already started talking football, but before we get any deeper into it, we've got to talk about one thing and one thing only, my friend. Of course, I'm referring to Meatless Monday. Mike, what was on the menu today?
Today was a good Meatless Monday. I had a mushroom and quinoa omelet, which it's a recipe that comes from the Reset, and I just eat it because it's good. The food's never the problem on the Reset. It's the no caffeine, can't have a red line, can't have a coffee, can't have a bite of a donut or a cracker if I want something crunchy, So the food's good. I had that. I also ordered a vegetarian plate from Daphne's. Daphne's has really good food. I cook it. I should know. And then tonight I'm going to have a plant-based burger. And those are also really good. Little ketchup, little mustard, probably toasted bun.
And your brother Mitch, he also enjoys the veggie burgers, correct?
He's the one that he's like, when are you going to be done with the pod? I want you to make veggie burgers today. I was like, I will do it. Don't worry. So yeah, he's the one that requested it.
I know it's been a little while since your birthday, Mike, but I know that your sister-in-law, she was supposed to make you a late birthday dinner, but of course she got caught with the illness and everything. Did that ever happen?
Next week, they are in Seattle, and then they're going to Las Vegas this week.
Wow,
that was last week. So maybe this week is the dinner. Feels like, man, I am off. I don't remember Smoke Monday's position. I'm glad I have notes because I might be hurting right now on this pod. I'm walking brain fart over here. I don't know what's going on.
Hey, man, Mondays get the best of us. Well, Mike, let's get right to it, sir. Man, this is going to haunt them for a long time, at least for the entire offseason. But you look at that Chiefs-Bengals game. If you had to put your finger on it, what went wrong for the Chiefs in the second half?
I just like to say I'm very happy for Patrick Mahomes that he's not a Dallas Cowboy, because if that happened to him in a Dallas Cowboy uniform, he'd be sorry. He's overrated. We paid him all that money. Now he can't win. He only has one Super Bowl. He's supposed to be the greatest all time, but be lucky you're in Kansas City where the fan base isn't as large, and so you don't have as many idiots calling out the quarterback because the team got beat in a playoff game. What happened was Bengals flipped to an 8-man coverage, 3-man line, almost the whole second half, basically, and Kansas City couldn't figure it out, and they wouldn't run it. For some reason, they decided, we're just going to throw into the 8-man coverage instead of running into a 3-man line, and that got him in the end. The Kansas City defense was never a world beater. They're a defense that makes some plays and makes some stops, but overall, if the offense wasn't leading them, they're not going to win. The minute the offense got shut down in the second half, opened the door for Cincinnati.
Yes, sir, Mike. I think there was a few things that stood out to me as one, including overtime. The Bengals outscored the Chiefs 17-3. And you look at that third quarter, Mike, which is, I think, proving to me that might be the most important quarter in the NFL. At least, when I was doing some research on the Cowboys, how it impacted their win-loss percentage. But, Kansas City didn't score at all in the third quarter. And not only that, but Cincinnati almost doubled KC's time of possession in the third quarter. So I feel like that third quarter is really what went wrong for the Chiefs in the second half. Obviously, the Bengals defense really contributing to that. But, man, that third quarter was huge for the Bengals.
Yeah, and then because it always happens this way, Bengals must have won the coin toss and then took it down and just scored right away, right? That's what happened?
No, Bengals called heads, apparently, and they lost.
Oh, so a defense got a stop in an overtime. So it doesn't mean we don't have to change every rule in the book. One team can do its job on defense and make a stop like they're supposed to do in overtime, so we don't have to go crazy about the rules. I don't care if they change it, honestly. I understood the field goal. You got the ball, you basically had to go 30 yards. But if you can't stop a team from getting a touchdown, you deserve to lose. You deserve to lose. Don't give up a touchdown. The Bengals did it before the end of regulation, held them to a field goal to tie it. And then they did it after the thing. And then their team only had to score a field goal. It could be a disadvantage to win the toss if defenses actually would do their part and make a stop or make a turnover. So it's just nice that we didn't have to hear that whole nobody touched the ball. It's dude, the rules going in. Stop bitching about it. Get a stop. Do your part on defense.
And just hopefully people realize that Dak Prescott is not the only one who makes bad throws.
Yeah. Hey, look. Mahomes is the best quarterback in football, probably the most talented. Him and Aaron Rodgers are the two guys, right? Aaron Rodgers stunk versus the 49ers couldn't get the ball in the end zone at home in weather that he plays in all the time. I don't want to hear about the weather. And Patrick Mahomes was terrible the last second half and overtime. He was awful. It happens. They're still elite. They're still great quarterbacks. It's just their fan base isn't as big, so they don't have such a big fan base that half of them listen to the stupid sports media shows and are like, oh, yeah, Dak Prescott can't do it. He's average, just and that. I'm like, since 2019, he's only held the most points and yards than any other quarterback that the most weeks with the most points and yards since he's been healthy. So it's just stupid. It's a stupid thing. We have a really big, giant fan base, and some of them are really stupid. Unfortunately, that's what happens when you have a big tent. You have like your stupid uncle, you know? Cowboys fans have stupid uncles that are like, this isn't perfect, and he doesn't win the game all by himself with no one else playing, running the ball against 11 people, and playing defense and stopping them, so he should be cut. Because quarterbacks that win, that's all they do. Joe Burrow had no help, even though his defense gave up nothing the whole second half. Yeah. Nope, only Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow's great. That's why they won. That's the only reason. Had nothing to do with any other thing.
And you mentioned the scheme on defense that the Bengals used to stop Mahomes in the second half. That was what Dak was having a lot of issues with the second half of this season.
Yep, they almost exclusively said, if y'all want to run, go ahead, but we're going to drop 7 into coverage, rush you with 4. We think we can beat your line, your O-line, with just our 4 guys, and good luck throwing into our coverage. And you know, to the discredit of Kellen Moore, he never really adjusted to that all the second half of the season. And the quarterback wasn't great, and the O-line wasn't great, and that's what happens. You get eliminated.
Hey, you know, Eric Bieniemy, who's a hot name for a head coaching candidate. You know, he looked pretty mortal yesterday in that second half.
Yeah, he did, and Andy Reid, because we know Andy Reid is also always behind that. You know, Eric Bieniemy deserves his credit, and he should get an opportunity. But Andy Reid is the mastermind of that offense too. So, and they both got stifled by that 8 cover outfit that the Bengals went with.
Yeah, my father-in-law, he referred to it as the umbrella defense.
Yeah, the umbrella shell. Yep, that's the way to do it. Only they dropped 8 and rushed 3 instead of doing the typical 4-5 umbrella. They only sent 3 rushers.
Okay. Well, moving along, Mike, you know, you're looking at the 49ers. They lost yesterday as well. But when you look at that loss, does that fall on Jimmy Garoppolo?
In a way, it does. What happened is basically Kyle Shanahan kind of ran out of tricks. You know, at some point you got to beat a pretty, you know, what they thought would going in was a pretty good Dallas team at home. Then you have to go into Green Bay and find a way to beat them. And then you have to find a way to deal with the Rams. And at the end, the fourth quarter, he just kind of ran out of tricks. And, you know, the reason that comes around to Jimmy G is if Jimmy G was a better quarterback, you wouldn't have to rely so much on the tricks and the design plays. You could run your basic offense and Jimmy could, you know, find some zones and make some throws and do some things for you. But he's just not great at it. And so they kept running trick plays and showing everything. And eventually a really good Rams defense just said, nah, dude, this ain't going to work anymore. And it got into Jimmy G's hands, and that was game over.
You know, Mike, for me, it's hard not to blame Jimmy for the loss. You know, a veteran quarterback has to know when and when not to take a sack. You can't throw that ball, man, especially on third down, no less. But however, like you said, you know, heading into the fourth quarter, the Niners were up by 10 points. I'm giving this loss to Shanahan. You know, on 3rd and 2, you give it to your fullback for the first time all game on a pivotal third down. And then you don't go for it on 4th and 2 on the Rams 45, which I don't know. I mean, some people might argue that punting it was the right move. For me, I don't know. I think with Debo and Elijah Mitchell, they were having success. I feel like maybe you should have ran one of them on that third down play, or, you know, especially on the 4th down play. You know, speaking of Debo and Mitchell, they only had 18 total run plays combined for the game, and that, you know, running the ball had been their bread and butter. And we know that Jimmy Garoppolo, you don't want him throwing 30 or 35 times a game. And I just felt like, you know, you say he ran out of tricks, but he got a little too cute at the wrong times, I felt like.
Yeah, they had it was funny because my friend who's a Niner fan said he was like, oh man, they're going to the fullback. And if he knows that watching, the team so much,
right,
the defense knew it. I mean, you could look, the defense was ready for that play. They stuffed it clean. And yeah, I would have went for it on 4th too. I think punting's where they lost the game at that moment.
Yeah.
Playing to lose, you shouldn't do that.
Yeah, and it's funny, man, because you mentioned your friend calling plays. I watched the games with my father-in-law, and it's amazing. It's not like, obviously we're always awed by Tony Romo and his ability to do that, but I always get surprised because he's like, yeah, they're telegraphing what they're going to do, and every time he says that, that's exactly what they do. So it's kind of cool to see, but I just wish I was able to do that myself.
The old Tony Romo trick. That's funny. The thing that fans have been doing for decades and decades in front of their TV, Tony Romo brought it out into a broadcast booth, and now it's a really big thing. It's funny how that works.
Yeah, my father-in-law said that he was on Facebook, and somebody was saying, Tony Romo all of a sudden decides to start calling all these defenses. Why didn't he do that when he was playing quarterback?
Yeah, hey, he got pretty damn good at it at the end. He just couldn't stay healthy.
Yeah. It was crazy, man. I wish the end of his career could have gone so much differently.
I'll be the most disappointed in a team I've ever been if they have Tony Romo and Dak Prescott back to back and do not get a Super Bowl, at least in the range, competing in NFC championships a couple times, make a Super Bowl. Like, you can't have two quarterbacks like that, and that is a fail by the Joneses if that happens.
Absolutely, no doubt about that. Mike, when you look at the upcoming Super Bowl matchup, Rams versus the Bengals, is this the best and most even matchup in your eyes?
I think Kansas City and Rams would have been the best matchup. I mean, we've seen them play before in that crazy game that was just unbelievable, and I'd have loved to see another one of that. Truth is, though, of the teams that were left, Bengals was probably the one that I was like, oh, yeah, I want Bengals to win. So I don't mind that they made it, but, it wouldn't surprise me at all if the Rams were able to beat up on Cincinnati. They're still young. They haven't been there. McVay, Donald, Ramsey have all been in big games. The Rams have offensive linemen, I believe, that were at the last Super Bowl. And so they have players that were there where since he's kind of like, okay, we made it here. Can't believe it. We beat the Chiefs, and it wouldn't surprise me if Rams won by a couple scores. So I think if it was Kansas City and the Rams, it would be one of those 42-40 crazy games. This one could be that. This one still could be. But it wouldn't shock me if the moment was a little bit too big for a lot of the Cincinnati guys and they ended up getting beat. But I'm rooting for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Mike, I think this is the matchup I wanted, and I think it's easily the fairest and actually the most exciting. You think about it, a lot of people criticized the Zach Taylor hiring by the Bengals just because of his relationship with Sean McVay, thinking that was the only reason he got the opportunity. And look at him now, 2 years later, he's in the Super Bowl.
I know. And I told people on Twitter, they didn't realize I was a Laker fan, but I told them I was like, Joe Burrow is NFL Luka, because Luka, I'm a Lakers fan, but Luka's my favorite player. Well, I'm a Cowboys fan, but my favorite non-Cowboy, definitely Joe Burrow.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just like Joe Burrow. It was Andrew Luck before. Obviously, he was forced in retirement, but I just like him. I don't know. I feel the same way about Dak before, like about halfway through the end of this season, where I was like, something's wrong with Dak. I always felt like every game I got Dak Prescott, I'm never like, oh yeah, I'm going to lose. I don't have a chance here. Just ever. I just always feel like I have a chance when I have Dak Prescott. Joe Burrow is the same way. I feel like if Joe Burrow's my quarterback when I'm watching that, it's hard to pick against him. I'm going to look on a schedule in the next 10 years and see Bengals Steelers and go, oh man, am I really going to pick him against Joe Burrow? It's like, he's just that kind of QB already at this age. So I like him a lot.
Yeah, you got to love his storyline too. being from Ohio, went to Ohio State, misses opportunity to play there, wins the national title, then gets selected over number 1 overall to play for the team he rooted for growing up, man.
Yeah, and the thing is going into that year, he was like a 3rd to 5th round projection, and then him and Jamar Chase blew up the league. Yeah, and now they get in. Burrow gets in a year earlier, he gets injured, but Jamar Chase joins him, and they blow up the league. Like, there's a track record. Did it in the national title game in college, did it all year, and now the next year they're together. They literally did it in the NFL. Like, it's unbelievable.
He'll be the first player, if they win the Super Bowl, to win the Heisman, a national title, and a Super Bowl.
He's got a chance. I don't think I'm picking him, but yeah. I mean, it's a coin. It's like a 52-48 thing right now for me, leaning Rams because they have a little experience. That's it.
It's hard to root against the team with that kind of momentum.
Yeah, I know. And I just want them to win. Like, wouldn't it be like, I know a lot of people get down because they're like, oh man, Bengals won and Dallas hasn't. Yeah, but don't you want to see the Bengals win? Like,
let them have a moment, man. Don't have to be about Dallas.
Like, I get it's a bummer on like Dallas 26 years, but we have 5 of them. Like,
yeah,
Bengals ain't sniffed like anything close to this in so long. It's like, man, I'd like them to get their moment. It would be awesome.
2 years after Andy Dalton leaves, 1 year after AJ Green leaves. How crazy is that, dude?
Yeah, those are 2 good players for them. Went to a lot of playoff games together.
Yeah, really? I mean, and they had a kind of connection, maybe not as strong, obviously, as Burrow and Chase, but they were a dynamic duo for a while, dude.
Is there one better than Burrow and Chase
right now?
Maybe
Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson.
Maybe. I think the lack of belief in Kirk Cousins knocks that down unfairly. Like, you should be like, well, look at those 2 in 2 years. But you're like, yeah, but Kirk Cousins ain't Joe Burrow. So it like, unfortunately, that should be a good answer. But you and I both are like, Kirk Cousins.
It's Kirk Cousins. Mahomes, Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the other one. And you got to give Josh Allen, Stefan Diggs.
Oh yeah,
last couple of years have been killers. So yeah, there's some good ones in there.
Mike, you look at the Rams, and you're seeing how the Rams use their draft picks and salary cap. Should more teams operate more like LA, seeing as what they've been able to do, and now that they're in the Super Bowl for the second time in 5 years? Excuse me.
I think the problem is that it depends on the situation. Like, you have to have the right situation to go in. Like with Goff, they had a low contract, a new McVay that people hadn't gotten used to. They were able to spend a lot of money, because the quarterback wasn't paid. They make it. Quarterback gets paid. They kind of fall off. The quarterback coach combo doesn't work. Now they bring in Stafford. They make a move for that. So it's easier to do Von Miller. It's easier to do that stuff and give up picks forever and go all in. If you look, Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll tried to do it with Jamal Adams. That was supposed to be like the missing piece to this team. Fell apart. Why? Because Pete Carroll's probably run his course. And Russ isn't the quarterback we thought he was. Like, without Legion of Boom, and since he's got paid, he really hasn't done a lot. I mean, we got to be fair. The stats are there, but as far as like what he was leading a team and stuff, they just didn't win last year, and he's still the quarterback, and he had offensive weapons. So, it depends. Like, there's teams like, I think Mahomes, Reed, go all in. Josh Allen, McDermott, go all in. Stafford, McVay, go all in like they did. But there's some bubble teams that, like Green Bay, do they really have the coach? Do you want to go all in with that coach? Are you sure? The quarterback's fine. He's won one. He's MVP a billion times. What about Tennessee? Vrabel's play style work? He's a good coach, good enough coach, but his play style too much Pete Carroll? Is Tannehill good enough? Do you really want to go in with those two?
Mm-hmm.
Cowboys, is Dak good enough? I like Dak. Is he good enough for that? For the go all in, you got a shot for 2 years. What are you going to do? Is Mike McCarthy good enough? Is Kellen Moore good enough? Is the offensive play calling good enough? So there's some bubble teams that maybe if they showed a little bit more, you'd go ahead and jump them all in. But I think it depends on team. I don't think you can just do it with anybody.
Yeah, you make some really good points there, Mike. But for me, I would say, I think they should. Regardless if LA wins or loses, when you look at the moves they made and how they worked out, it just goes to show teams have to take risks, and more often than not, proven players are more valuable than draft picks. Not to mention, what good is salary cap money if you're not going to spend it on difference-making players?
Yeah, it's funny because with seeing what he did and them being in the Super Bowl, I still don't make that Von Miller trade. It's just too much to give up.
It was just a second-round pick, right?
Huh?
It was just a second-round pick, right? Or do you mean were you talking about Stafford? What they gave for Stafford? Or did you mean?
I can't remember. Let me see. Let me make sure before I mess this up. Let me get on the phone and check the Von Miller trade. I believe
it was just a second-round pick straight up, but I could be wrong.
Let me see.
Because he has been a difference maker. And when you add him to a defense that was
second and third round picks.
Second and third. Ooh.
I can't. I knew it was because the second I would have considered.
But he's going to be there.
Third, and your first's already gone.
But he'll be there for at least 1 or 2 more years, right?
This is he's a free agent after this year.
Ooh.
So they plan on re-signing him, but that they got to do that magic, the funny money with the cap. They're going to have to work something out to bring him back, because I definitely am not doing it if you don't bring him back. A second and a third, man, that's Trayvon Diggs and Neville Gallimore. That's Boss Man Fat and Oso Digizua. Nah, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, I know, man. Those guys are sitting on the couch. Von Miller's playing in the Super Bowl.
That happens, but he also has Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey and Matt Stafford.
But that's what I mean, though. It's like when you have those types of players, you make that move because you don't have to worry about Von Miller being the guy he was 5 years ago. You just need the Von Miller to be as good as he once was, right? What's the saying you taught me?
You're as good once as I ever was.
Yeah,
I'm not good. I'm not as good as I once was, but I'm good once as I ever was.
There you go. Yeah.
So, if you can come up like he did in that game, 1 or 2 plays, Melvin Ingram too was doing
exactly,
it.
Dude.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I get it, but I'm not. I still, to this moment, I'm not giving up a second and third for Von Miller.
Well, I think that's a good transition into our next topic, Mike. Is one Super Bowl appearance worth being in cap hell for 5 years?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it really is, right?
Yeah,
seriously, it is. I mean,
easily.
That's all there is.
You can maneuver around cap hell. Give me my Super Bowl. Cap hell does not mean you definitely are not winning a Super Bowl again. Rams are literally in cap hell. So, and they're going to one. So, yeah, no, give me the Super Bowl. 26 goddamn years.
So I guess I know how you're going to answer this next one. Is one Super Bowl win worth being in cap hell for 10 years?
26 years. Give me the Super Bowl. Everybody, there's a lot of people that hate the AD trade now because they're like, look at how Lonzo Ball's playing. Look at how Brandon Ingram's playing. Look at John Randall. We had all these guys. I'm like, we won an NBA Finals championship. Maybe the most difficult one ever, being stuck in that damn bubble. I don't want to hear shit. That trade, I want to get rid of AD now, but that trade's worth it for what they got. So you take the championship.
AD's kind of started to turn a corner though too, right? He started to play back to his old self, or am I wrong?
He doesn't feel like an alpha dog to me. He just doesn't. He feels like he's got to be a 2, and like you'd really like him to be a 3. Like if he's your 3, you're winning finals. If he's your 2, he just doesn't. He gets beat up underneath. He doesn't want to play 5s. He's a jump shooter. Like he still has point guard mentality. Like we played a game just recently. I haven't been paying attention, but we just played the last team we played. In the fourth quarter, we were up by 10, and we blew the lead. And it was like, the last 5 minutes, they just don't go to AD. I'm like, why? The AD shot that I remember from the whole fourth quarter was a just inside the three-point line jump shot where he had the ball with like 15 seconds left, and he stood there and jab faked, pull up with 3 seconds left. It's like, nah,
wow.
dude, that's not going to do it. And you need a more, LeBron James, he's unbelievable what he's doing at his age, but he's that age. Like he just is. He shouldn't be playing 36 minutes a night and scoring 30 points. And that what do you have Russell and AD and Carmelo and all them for? Like if not to lighten that load. And the real culprit's AD. They need to. We turn this into Across the Lakers podcast. I apologize. Sorry about that, guys.
I'm always down for a little NBA talk, Mike.
I love Luka. Go Luka.
So, looking at the Super Bowl, man, you've got Joe Burrow, number 1 overall pick. You've got Matt Stafford, who was he a number one overall pick as well in his draft?
Yes, he was.
So is it, you kind of touched on it earlier, Mike, but is a good quarterback all it takes to win?
It's a key. It's a big key to winning is you need but you also need the coach. You also need a defense that can make you some plays. You need Arizona, Green Bay. Green Bay's special teams was bad all year. And what cost them the game at the end? Block punt touchdown, missed field goal. Like they blew them the game. So it takes a team to win. It starts with a good quarterback. You have the best chance if you have a good quarterback, but you need more elements. Dallas has a good quarterback. They were out in the first round. Green Bay as the MVP. Tom Brady, most accomplished quarterback of all time. Like, nobody thinks Joe Burrow is the best quarterback in the league. Nobody thinks Joe Burrow is better than Patrick Mahomes. He's just young. Right. He hasn't seen as much. Patrick Mahomes beat him. Shut Patrick Mahomes down and beat him, like because of a great coaching maneuver on the Bengals' part in the second half. So it takes a lot. A quarterback is key. It's the jump-off point, but you need more.
Yeah, Mike. When you look at Kansas City, Cincinnati, Los Angeles, and San Francisco, seeing how all those teams are constructed on the field and what they have on the sidelines and everything, to your point, it takes more than just a good quarterback. The coaching staff can make a big difference. Having the good defense has, won a game earlier in the playoffs. Special teams won a game in the playoffs. So, yeah, it definitely takes more than a good quarterback. But like you said, a good quarterback is a really good starting point.
Yeah, I agree. You need it, but you don't. It doesn't mean any guarantees.
So, speaking of quarterbacks, Mike, it sounds like, or rumor has it that Tom Brady is going to be hanging it up this season. When you look at Tom Brady, is he the best NFL player ever?
He's the most accomplished.
Yes.
I wouldn't have him as the best, like talent-wise. I would take Peyton Manning's talent, John Elway's talent, Deion Sanders, LT, Reggie White. Talent-wise, I would take them. But it comes down to winning. So when you say who's the GOAT, I think that's a mix of accomplishment and ability. And in that case, Tom Brady has it. Even if you count like cheating and all that stuff. It's just overwhelming winning. So it supersedes all of that when you win so many. So I would say he's the GOAT. I wouldn't say he's the best ever, but he's the most accomplished plus has great ability. So he would be the GOAT.
Yeah, Mike, like you said, if you want to talk about champions and championships, and that's how people like to measure players, he is the best player ever. But yeah, when you mix in talent and everything, that's a totally different discussion.
Well, yeah, I just think if Peyton Manning had the same circumstances as Tom Brady, he would be also really, really good. He'd win multiple Super Bowls, and then he would have, records that would supersede if he was prolonged in the game that long. But when you stay that long in the game and you win that much, you got to give the credit where it's due. So I'm not doing that to take away credit. I'm just saying I understand there's a difference between the talent he had and the accomplishments. Like I don't think he's the best quarterback ever as far as can throw the ball here, can see it the fastest, can read the defense the best. Like, but he wins the most. He wins a lot, so, and he's very talented. Like he's top tier of the league in talent. Plus he wins overwhelmingly. So the GOAT, man, I give it to him.
Think about his work ethic, his offseason regimen and everything. Not a lot of players are willing to do that.
Yeah, just the effort he puts. And then the brains to where he picked to go. Tampa Bay. He knew Breeze 40 years old, the Saints getting older. Panthers had nothing. Atlanta had nothing. So you're talking, he goes over there. It's a very winnable division. He has Gronk and Goodwin, a good young defense that went 7-9 with Jameis Winston throwing up all kinds of turnovers. He brings over Gronk, brings over AB, brings in Leonard Fournette, and they went and got themselves a title, and he had a stacked roster, and he led it. He was still the leader. I'm not trying to diminish what he did by saying that the roster was stacked. You need a stacked roster to beat teams like Kansas City. Their roster's stacked too. But he was smart in where he went, in the choices he made. Cerebral. He was very cerebral. So, he knows what he's doing. It takes a mix of everything to be the GOAT.
Absolutely. Mike, I don't know how about you, but I would think that Tom Brady is the face of the NFL. But if he does retire, who do you think is going to be the new face of the NFL?
I would say he was this generation's face of the NFL. So maybe not over the last year or two. I think Patrick Mahomes has kind of become the face, even with Brady winning stuff. I think Mahomes is kind of, I don't know. There's Brady fatigue after a while. So I would say Mahomes steps in right away. But, man, Joe Burrow wins this year and then backs it up with a run next year, like makes the playoffs, wins a playoff game or two. Even if they don't win at all, he could be the top guy. And then there's guys behind Josh Allen. Does he go on a run for a couple of years? Herbert, how does he look? Dak, Cowboys uniform. If they were, Dan Quinn comes back and they were able to run off a couple of Super Bowls. Even a guy like Kyler Murray, if he was able to lead Arizona and that type of offensive system 2-1, they could get it. So I'd say Patrick Mahomes is the odds-on favorite and probably the current guy, but there's some people behind him that have a shot.
I think Mahomes is a likable guy. I don't know if I would consider him the face of the NFL, just my personal opinion, especially when you think about his brother, with the TikToks and his wife. People really, really dislike his wife and his brother just because they're annoying, they're kind of cringy, they're kind of trolly. So, but you said it, Joe Burrow, Mike. I do think it's Joe Burrow, especially with a Super Bowl title under his belt. If he's able to do that, I feel like he's marketable. He has the look of the ideal quarterback. We mentioned earlier his storyline, being the quarterback of a team he rooted for as a kid and being from Ohio. I feel like he's got a likable story. He's got the image and everything. He seems like a cool person. I think he's a very likable quarterback. I think he'll be the new face of the NFL.
The crazy thing about Joe Burrow is he does a lot of stuff. Like when he wins, smoke the cigar. Like he does a lot of stuff that you could put into the Jackson Mahomes and his old ladies category. The difference is he does it. It's not a family member doing it, and he's smoking the cigar. Like, look at what the person that I married or the person that I'm kin to did. Oh, look at that. I'm so great. Like, you could do it when you do it. It's not good for you. You accomplished it. But when you're spraying people with shit and that's one of the reasons I'm kind of happy they lost. Like, humble them out a little bit. Like, Pat Mahomes seems like a pretty humble dude. Like, he seems pretty awesome. Like, he could have easily cleaned Kansas City for as much money as he wanted, and he did a 10-year deal for him so they could do all the maneuvering and keep their guys. And he seems really cool. But the people born on third base waking up thinking they hit a triple are annoying the shit out of people. So I get why you say maybe he's not, but man, it's hard to kill him. Like, he's a really good dude, a really great player, to kill him for the others and, doing stupid shit is rough for me. I feel like Twitter doesn't like it, but I feel like the media decides who the face is, and that the media, it'll be Patrick Mahomes. And then I agree with you. If Joe Burrow wins, he's going to be vaulted real quick.
Mm-hmm. I just feel like because people dislike his wife and his brother, that they are kind of secretly rooting for him to lose. You know what I mean?
I kind of was. They're annoying. Not gonna lie, they're annoying, and I wanted them to win more than the NFC teams, but yeah, those they're annoying. They just are. Sorry, y'all. If y'all listen to this, you two are like, the brother needs to calm it down. Like, you didn't do shit, dude. Your brother did shit. Just chill out. All right. That's like me going on the podcast. We get big, and my brother comes in smoking a cigar, sitting there going, "What's up, Paul? We're gonna talk Cowboys." Smoking a cigar.
I hope Mitch comes on the show one day, dude. He needs to come on Cowboys Beat this year.
He'll come. He would come on.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll have to have him come on. Well, speaking of the Cowboys, Mike, there was some good news for the Cowboys last week among it all. And, man, Dan Quinn, baby, staying with the Cowboys. What are your thoughts on that?
Love it. First of all, it's great for all the young players. Even if the system's similar and this and that, you got to learn new shit with a new coach. So having Parsons and Osa and Gallimore and Golston and Diggs and Bossman and all these young core players go in and know what to expect all year, they will be a better defense, even if statistically EPA and stuff and turnovers aren't as good. They will be a better defense in big spots because they'll know where they're supposed to be and what their jobs are. And I'm super excited. I think it's a big move that Dallas got him back.
Absolutely, Mike. I mean, bringing back Quinn has put my mind at ease for the offseason. I'm very excited about this move, sir.
I can't wait. I trust that the quarterback had some mental stuff going on coming off the injury and that he's going to be fine. I worry about the play caller a little bit. I need to see him. They went too many weeks with these issues. They saw enough of this defense that they should have been able to adjust to it. But let's see. He's got an off season, and next year's with Sean Payton lurking, they need to go this next year. Otherwise, I think they might be out of here.
We won't get too deep into that, but man, I feel like it took so many things to go wrong for that offense to be stopped, and it all happened all at once, man.
Yeah, the offensive line decided to forget how to block. They had a lot of good people that were hoping just didn't get old. I give LC a break because he went a whole year, off of playing. He's got to play himself in shape. Then he has a suspension, but Tyron could be getting old, so we got to monitor Zach Martin. He was still very good, but he was shaky in the last game of the year. So, we got to monitor it. It's time to put some valuable assets back into that O-line again.
Well, Jerry Jones stated that Quinn had opportunity to be a head coach, but he wanted to stay in Dallas. He decided to stay in Dallas and turn down a head coaching job. Does Quinn wanting to stay in Dallas make you feel better about the team's future in the front office?
Nope, not at all. The things that'll make me feel better. One, does Dak get back to normal? If he does, I'm extremely happy because if I have back to normal Dak with the defense that Dan Quinn brought last year, Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Second, Moore, does he figure out what defense we're doing to him? Can he figure out how to run the ball against it to get him out of it or how to beat it? But he's got to find a way to counter that attack that teams did to him all last year. The third thing is I got to see what they're doing. 24 free agents, and we have cap. Stephen Jones not going to go out and pay if Kurtz gets a big contract or a middling contract even from another team. I just think Catboy will go, well, we'll put somebody else there, and Dan Quinn has to make it work. We don't want to pay a 1-year wonder, as he'll probably call Curse. We don't want to pay him big money, so no, I'm not at all. I think they kind of lucked into that. I think Chicago blew it. Quinn was the perfect coach for the Bears. They went with the Colts defensive coordinator, and I'm sure he'll do a good job there, but we kind of lucked into it. I think if he got offered Denver or Chicago, he would have took it.
Yeah, Mike, like you, I'm kind of, sort of, still, after Not to Be Tried's tweet, Burgers and Blitzes there on Twitter, I'm still somewhat concerned about this front office, Mike. I'm not going to lie.
I don't blame you. You should be.
We were talking about Kellen, Mike. If Kellen leaves, who replaces him? And we have 3 different categories here. If Kellen leaves, who replaces him? 1, we're going to do from within the organization, maybe promotion. 2, who would be the nightmare replacement? And 3, dream scenario. So, Mike, give us your number 1 from within. Who would you like to see get a promotion?
Bro, let's just get out of the way. Say your nightmare scenario in 3, 2, 1. Jason
Adam Gase.
What?
Adam Gase.
Fair. You win. Adam Gase is worse than Jason. Wow. Yeah, you're right.
That's not obviously not going to be a possibility. I didn't even think about Garrett because I cannot see them firing him and bringing him back as a coordinator. But God, dude, that's equally bad.
Hey, I swear to God, though, if they say Adam Gase, I would legitimately bring back Jason Garrett.
Seriously, for real.
Adam Gase is horrendous. That's a good call. That's a great nightmares. Man, I feel bad. That's how much I hate Jason Garrett. Everybody should have said Adam Gase. Everybody.
Can you imagine, dude? Seriously, can you imagine?
Just bring me Scott Linehan back.
Oh my God, dude. I'd rather have Scott Linehan.
I'll live Scott Linehan over Adam Gase. Adam Gase is atrocious.
Oh my goodness, bro.
From within, nobody. Yeah. I don't have.
Oh, really?
None.
Wow, not even Doug Nussmeier, huh?
Nope. Don't want him.
So for me, Mike, this might come as a surprise, but I thought you were going to say Nussmeier. But however, give me Joe Philbin, because as the OC of the Green Bay Packers from 2007 to 2011, Philbin's offense's numbers were something like this. He had 4 top 5 finishes in points and 1 top 10 finish. He had top 10 finishes in yards all 5 seasons. And the quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, he finished top 10 in pass TDs every year. And in 2011, finished number 1 in passing TDs. Plus, he has the playoff experience with McCarthy.
Ready? I don't want him.
Do you want him back as the offensive line coach?
I do not.
Yeah,
I don't. The offensive line, I liked what he did with Steele. He really worked him in. Minus Steele, everybody else regressed. Everybody. Biadasz was obviously better than he was, rookie. The 4 games he played, he played better, but still he didn't play as well as I believe he would under a different offensive line coach.
Yeah, I think after what we saw him do in 2020 with all the injuries, where we're like, wow, man, this guy's done a really good job. But then when everybody was healthy, it's like, wow, what's kind of going on here, especially in the second half of the season.
Yeah, so go on, get filming out. You got to make some move. Jerry huffing and puffing and just brings everyone back the same. That'd be horrible. So he makes the most sense, in my opinion. Get rid of it was the part of the team that underperformed the most. I also wouldn't mind if they got rid of the QB coach and brought back Kitna.
So, I wouldn't mind that at all. Hearing some rumblings though that people are clamoring for Mark Colombo to come back. I would not be mad about that at all.
No, I wouldn't mind. That works. Bring him in.
All right, so we've talked about our from within. We talked about a nightmare replacement. Mike, what's your dream scenario for offensive coordinator if Kellen Moore does in fact leave?
Sean Payton takes over as head coach and calls the plays. That's my ideal. Bring him in. He could be the offensive coordinator, play caller, and head coach. That's my personal ideal scenario.
I think we might have to wait 1 more year for that, my friend.
I know. It's next year is going to be hard because it feels like they're basically throwing the year away which is
thanks. Oh Lord, like looking for an excuse to start over and bring back Sean Payton or what?
Yeah, it's what it feels like. They're going to tell everybody, this is it. You either win the Super Bowl or you're gone. And if we start off with a hard schedule and it starts off 0-2, it could just be like death of the year, and we got to go through a whole year like we did when Dak was hurt. I mean, don't get me wrong, the division stinks, so we're going to be right in the fight for it the whole year, but we'll all kind of know, like, nah, this ain't it, you know?
If it's like at a point, like say after week 8 and where it's 4-4 or 5-3, you're going to be able to sense a vibe like, okay, this year's not going to go the way we all want it to.
Yeah, I think if they don't get off to a good like 6-2 type start, if they get off something around 500 by week 8, Quinn might take over as the head coach and McCarthy might be out.
But okay, let's just say in that scenario, but like we're still having issues with penalty. Maybe we're putting up points and everything, but we're just not looking sharp. We're having the issues with the penalties, and we've lost a couple of close games. Would you be okay with making a coaching change early in the season like that?
Yeah, if you're a lame duck coach, you can go in the season. Just get it over with, get him out. Quinn's been a head coach forever. He could step right in. You're assuming George Edwards or Witt might stay. Move them right up to DC, and you're good to go. Yeah, I'm on a very short leash with Mike McCarthy, and I'll tell you guys this: I like Mike McCarthy.
Yeah.
If Sean Payton's not available, I like him fine. The problem is him becoming available automatically lame ducks Mike McCarthy because it just is what it is. Like Sean Payton's coming here if we don't win a Super Bowl next year or have an amazing run, NFC title, lose it right at the end type of thing. Sean Payton's coming, and we all know that. So, he's a lame duck, just what it is.
I mean, Sean Payton would replace a lot of coaches in the NFL, so that's nothing against McCarthy. But then you factor in the relationship that him and Jerry have and his relationship with the Cowboys being a coordinator and everything. I mean, it just makes too much sense.
Yeah, it's funny, too, if you just go by, like, if you do a bad job and just go by, like, straight resumes, it looks like Sean Payton and Mike McCarthy are, like, identical. Like, oh, there's no difference. They're if you really are, jump into it and follow their careers, that Sean Payton's a better coach than Mike McCarthy. That's coming from a McCarthy fan.
Yeah.
I did not want to get rid of him until Sean Payton became available.
Right.
I don't do the whole the Sean McVay ran out of timeouts in like the third quarter yesterday. Like clock management, I don't care about that. He gets his team during the week ready. When there's injuries, there isn't big drop-offs on the players very often. There isn't many Denver games where they just don't show up. Like, I don't mind McCarthy at all. Sean Payton. He's one of those guys.
It's crazy how little penalties were called in those games yesterday, Mike.
Yeah, amazing how that works, huh?
Yeah, it really is.
Can the NFL not take the hint from that and just, hey, unless stuff's blatant, let's not just, during the regular season, they just want open ball, so they're trying to call everything to open up the game because they want 38-32, Yeah. In the playoffs, that ain't like that. They know the ratings are coming. They just want close games. So it is what it is.
Back to the OC conversation. If Kellen were to leave, my dream scenario, Mike, would be Byron Leftwich. He coached Tom Brady. He's got the playoff experience. He played quarterback himself, and he has top 3 finishes every year in passing, TDs, and yards as the OC in Tampa Bay. So, if he doesn't get the job in Jacksonville and he's kind of, maybe looking to move on from Tampa Bay because who knows what the situation is going to be like, in the middle of the offseason. And, taking a high-profile job like this with Dallas, I mean, and he does well with Dak, then he could really put himself in a good position the following year for another head coaching opportunity.
Why him over Bieniemy?
I don't know. I mean, I have no real reason. I guess maybe yesterday's game.
How about Andy Reid? Does that factor in?
Andy Reid, does that factor in? It probably should, but I guess it doesn't just because when I think of I could see Andy Reid taking a McCarthy approach being like, whoever installs it calls it,
Very fair.
What do you think? I mean, Would you rather have Eric Bieniemy or Byron Leftwich yourself?
I'd be okay with either of them. I'm with you. I think Byron Leftwich is a good play caller. I mean, if you look at it, if their offense is pretty decent, minus the fact that Jameis Winston's just chucking up turnovers all the time. If he makes better decisions, better throws, they're a pretty good offense without Tom Brady. So, yeah, I think Leftwich makes sense. I wouldn't mind Bieniemy either. He was my ideal scenario at first, but then I reconsidered and was like, it's Sean Payton. Like, I want the complete package. We're talking dream. It's Sean Payton.
Yeah. Well, Mike, the Cowboys season ended a little earlier than we all wanted to. But when you look at the offseason, is there really ever an offseason for the Cowboys or the fans?
Player acquisition is a year-round job, sir. Quote, yes, unquote. Sir. I hate that quote, by the way, because it's a fucking lie for Dallas. But no, it really is. To be in a Dallas Cowboys content creator,
yeah,
got to be able to do it all year long.
You think about it, Mike. I mean, after our loss to San Francisco, the week of the divisional round, all people were talking about was Dallas possibly losing Dan Quinn. Over this past weekend, all people were talking about was Dan Quinn coming back to Dallas. Will Sean Payton be the coach of the Cowboys in 2022? And where will Kellen Moore might go and how he might not be a candidate for a coaching job? Mike, there is and never will be an off season for the Cowboys or the fans.
America's team, bro.
Yes, sir. Talk of the town, always and forever, dude.
America.
Another rumor that really caught me off guard that I'm hoping that you can offer some insight on was an Amari Cooper to Kansas City trade. Where did that rumor come from, and is there any truth to that? Do you know?
Came right out of the rear end of somebody. It's just total BS. It's a made up thing.
Okay.
Look, to be honest with y'all, nobody's giving up a first round pick for Amari Cooper right now after that last year and the injuries he's had. So it made me laugh because people were like, the 32nd pick, no way. I'm like, you wish you could get the 30. If you get the 32nd pick, you run to it because you could save the cap space, see about signing a couple of the other guys, and then you have 2 first round picks and a deep first round wide receiver core. So yeah, it's just not realistic in any way, shape, or form. It's total BS.
I mean, that does kind of have a nice ring to it, though. Pick 32, or I guess it'd be pick 30, right? Pick 30 with bringing back Gregory and Gallup or Cedric Wilson and Gallup. I mean, man, you can't be mad about that.
Yeah, and at 24, you get Nakobe Dean, and then at 30, you get Chris Olave or the kid who injured his knee. What was it, Michi?
Oh, John. No, Jameson Williams.
Yeah, him or Michi, really, if he made it.
John Michi, yeah.
Well, that's the thing about it is there's enough wide receivers to replenish. You still got CeeDee Lamb. You might be able to bring back a Gallup. You definitely could bring back Cedric Wilson if you're not. I love Amari Cooper. I don't want to get rid of him. I'm just saying a scenario where you use a first-round pick, you play him for a couple of years, you get your first-round pick back a few years later when he's older and been injury and had a down year and the vaccination stuff, which I care none about, but that the team does. All that stuff plays in. So if they could, yes, but it's total bullshit.
Yeah. The front office was making some moves last week, Mike, and Dak's contract got restructured. If you have an idea, why do you think that was and possibly for who do you think?
They were getting under the cap. So here's the thing. Dallas is over the cap by a certain amount. And they have 24 upcoming free agents, which they're probably 10 of them minimum are going to have to be re-signed. You have to fill out your roster. So, they had to get under the cap. They probably will do at least one more restructure, a big one, or 2 smaller ones. So we'll see how that goes because it'll kind of give you an idea for the future. If they do none, then I would worry about Amari Cooper or Lyle Collins or Tyron Smith or Blake Jarwin or one of those guys just being outright cut or traded. Right. But if they end up, restructuring Tank or moving some of Cooper's money to guarantees to get some relief, then we know that they're opening up so that they can bring some of their guys back and hopefully sign a couple in free agency.
Yeah, Mike, I was kind of thinking that restructuring was was them trying to keep Amari, just because we know how close Dak and Amari are, and what they can do on the field. You want to keep your quarterback happy, and what better way to keep him happy than to bring back his favorite weapon?
Yep, I 100% agree.
Well, Mike, as we're moving along here, what were your views from the sidelines, your playoff edition?
Views from the sideline. Number one, Ghost of Tsushima for PS5, because I played a hell of a lot of that and then just flipped over and saw the score and went, oh, somebody scored. Rewind. Oh, that's what happened. Okay, fast forward. I recorded all the games, but live I was not paying attention. And then I was watching a lot of tape. So even when it was on live and I was actually playing it, I don't like college football, to be honest with you guys. Not really watching. I watch a few games a year. I went to a couple to see the Fresno State quarterback, and because it was the last year that, like, basically my niece has been a cheerleader. I've known her her whole life, and it was her last year at cheer. So I went to a couple games, but I don't watch during the year. I want to watch the NFL. I don't want to think about the draft because it means Cowboys are done and we're doing that. So a lot of people are like, well, how do you get through so many players? So I don't sleep, and I do stuff like just put the stuff in front of me and watch the all 22s, as many games as I can. And I try to, like, I shouldn't say as many games as I can. Like, I try to pick 2-3 games of each one. Like, you get an idea from that. And then, after I go through enough players, like say 100 that I want to go through, I'll go through and look over Dane Brugler's reports and stuff like that. So I'm just trying to catch up on prospects right now before the combine and have an idea of guys that I like, guys that I think fit Will McClay's thing, get an idea of people who are available at 24 that I think Dallas would attempt to draft. Is this a year they do something different? Like, I'm trying to fuel all that. So Cowboys aren't playing. The games were great. I kind of focused on them towards the end. You'd look up from the laptop like, oh, shoot, but for about 3.5 quarters, I'm flipping around. I'm watching tape and stuff like that. So my view from the sideline is I wasn't watching shit. So I didn't have one this week. That's the honest to God truth.
Well, Mike, we appreciate the honesty. One, talk to us a little bit about that game. Where are you at, and what is the objective, the premise of the game? And two, for people who want to get into watching film, aka me and some of our listeners, what do you like to use? What are some tools that you use to help you with that?
All right, game is a samurai game where these brilliant game makers threw together great things from the best things from 100 different games and then made it into a samurai game. Like it's incredible. It is a straight up 9.5/10. There's only one issue with the whole game, is because I always jump off a mountain and die, because I don't want to look for the places where you have to, like, climb down. There's certain spots where your guy is really agile and he can climb down. He's a samurai. And I'm like, oh, I'm just going to try to jump on that rock right there. Oh, dead. So minus that, it's the perfect game. It's as good of a game as I've ever played. It's Ghost of Tsushima or some shit like that. Here, I'll show it to y'all right here. We'll break it out. The other thing, as far as looking at film, you kind of get used to it as you go. Here's the Ghost game for the PS5. It's okay. It's awesome. Highly recommend. It's bloody. And I think it has a little bit of language, not too bad, but it's awesome. As far as getting into tape, the first thing you got to do is just start watching it. I would also go and listen to, it used to be Prospects and Pros. It's now called The Athletic Football Show on Wednesdays. Dane Brugler and Lance Zierlein, whatever his name is. And then Trust the Tape with Kavanaugh and Brian Broaddus. And they kind of give you little hints, like what to look for. Like Jeff Kavanaugh said it great on their last, they had a scout casting. It was Foots the King, Botch Lombardi, and Jeff. And what Jeff said is, he goes, okay, so you're watching an offensive line talent. There's only two real things. Can he pass block? Can he run block? All right. Can he run block? Can he pass protect? Okay. Then you break it down. Okay. He can. Well, what does he do well in doing that? Is he strong? Does he have length? Is his footwork good? Is it, so there's a lot of things, but it starts with watching, is he good at it? And then you kind of, as you watch, figure out why he's good at it, how he gets beat. And then you do that and you kind of get used to it. You start to watch a player and you watch a couple games and you're like, okay, I see it as it goes. But it's a pain in the ass at first. And I'll tell you what else you do. Go to Draft Network and Pro Football Network and do mock drafts and read what the people say and go, okay, this guy is tall and long and he knows how to use his hands. Okay, what does that mean? Well, let me watch him on tape. Oh, I see. He has a good pass rush move set. Well, what does that mean? Well, some guys just beat you off the hike and they're so fast that they get around you. Pass rush move set says, okay, your first move's you don't get off the ball quick enough. A speed rush is not going to work. What are you going to do? Oh, watch him use his hands to cross chop that guy and get by. Look at his footwork. He plays him to the outside and then beats him back in. Wow, he has a spin move. Oh, that's a pass rush move set. So you kind of, you need to pull stuff from different areas. And I'm friggin' old. So I seriously, I'm not even joking. I was looking at football games without tape, just watching them on and college when I was like 12. I was just fascinated by it. I liked to bet on games. When I was very young, I'd set betting lines. I was just a weird sports fanatic. I got it from my dad. My dad wasn't quite Robert De Niro on Silver Linings Playbook, but he loved his sports. And so you just kind of get it as you watch. And it sounds shitty. And I had to figure the same thing out cooking, right? So cooking, the first time I said 1/8 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. Scrape it off. Only a half a teaspoon of that. Put that in there. Taste it. Oh, it tastes good. Okay. Next recipe. Same thing. Couple of years in, I started going, how much they need? 1/8. Okay. Pinch that in. Oh, what is it? Good. Now, what are you making? Oh, yeah. Okay. I can make that. What do you want it to take? You want more spice? You want more acid? How do you like it? Okay. Watching tape's the same thing. You're going to get to where you see it and go, aha. Oh, I see. Ooh, he gets beat like that. Uh-oh. Oh, that's something they got to work on. So it's just something don't get frustrated. All of us had a hard. Nobody looked at tape and said, I get it. I got it. Yeah. All of us had to say, what do they mean about like his release? How do they see that? How do they, how do they know? How do they know that they're running cover 3 here? Like, how'd they know that? What'd they look at? All of us did it. Don't worry about it. Do your mock drafts. Read about the players from professionals. Listen to Dane Brugler. Listen to Jeff Kavanaugh and Zerline and Broadus and Yeti. Big game
James.
He goes on. See, Big Game James is James Worthy for me. But so when I hear that, I go, no, that's James Worthy. But he has a YouTube show. I just dropped his notes on N'Kobe Dean and Dylan Devin Lloyd. So if people want to go on my page and look those up, and he goes over it with you, man, and he's good. And that's how you learn. You got to take the time to just do it. And over time, I promise you, over time, you'll start to get it to where when Dane says, when Dane says something, you go, really? Let me double check that. I didn't think I saw that. Or you'll see somebody and go, I really like this guy. What does this other guy say? Okay, we agree. Okay, good. I see it. Oh, he disagrees. What does he see? What game did he watch? What does he see different? You'll pick that stuff up. But for right now, just get info on players. Just absorb info into yourself and you will pick it up. I promise you, through osmosis, you'll pick it up. And it's going to be frustrating for years and years. It's going to be frustrating. But you're going to have fun doing it, and you're going to know names of players of this 5th round guy that gets picked, and you're going to go, oh, I like that guy. Who's your guy? Who's your guy last year?
Mukwamu.
And he went to Dallas. But when Mukwamu would have been picked on any team, if he'd have been picked on the Chargers, Paul would have looked and gone, I wonder what Mukwamu, has he gotten any play time? How's he looked? I wonder, maybe I'll watch something on him, see what the Locked On Chargers people are saying about Mukwamu. Just knowing the guys and doing mock drafts and reading about them and watching as much tape as you can and listening to other podcasts. Like,
yeah.
come to here. We're about to talk about a player. Then you can go in and go, okay, let me see. Maybe I'll watch some tape on. Maybe I'll watch a game. Maybe I'll see what it says on the Draft Network about him. Maybe I'll see what it says on PFN about him. You know, so just try to absorb information, and through osmosis, you'll get better.
Absolutely. So that's what I've been doing. I've been listening to Jeff and Broadus and KT for a long time. You know, listening to you for over a year now. But for visuals, I know you mentioned Cuddy's Cut-Ups last year.
Yeah.
Is that another resource that you use?
Yes, and you can go anywhere from $1 basically gives you access to all their videos, but you can't request any. If you want to request, it goes up depending on how many requests you want to make a week and a month. You pay a certain amount per month, and it goes up to like $20 a month, which isn't, you know, if you have the money to do that, that's great. I pay $10 a month just to listen to Catch This Fade so I can watch the video. So, you know, spend your money where you think. Maybe at first do the dollar tier. Don't request tape. Just pick up what they have and look at it. That's what I told LP Cruz. He's just now getting on there. In a few years, maybe you do more so you can look at certain people you want.
Yeah, because our boy Rich, aka Bodacious Beer, Fantasy Bosco actually is his new handle there on Twitter.
Nope, they're different people.
I mean, that's right. That's right. My bad. My bad, Bosco. Didn't mean to get you confused with that guy. Rich, he's a dick.
He is.
He said that he watches highlights on YouTube. Is that another resource that you like to use?
I don't do that often, but I have. It's not like a go-to because you don't really want to watch highlights because highlights will give you it'll overinflate your love for a player because you're only watching highlights and you never see that. You never see Diggs get beat by a double move. You only see the 11 interceptions.
Exactly.
You know, so you don't want to do that because then you go in going, this fifth round guy is unbelievable. And like, not quite, you know. A perfect example is last year, Gregory Rousseau. I loved him as a top 10 pick. And I was looking at his sack. Oh, look at his numbers. Let me see his highlights. Let me see how he does stuff. And then our boy, was it Zach?
Yeah, it was. It's Zach. I don't know if it's. I want to say Zach Taylor, but I'm just thinking about the Bengals. I know it's not Zach Taylor, but yeah, it was our guy Zach.
It's like Draft Zach or something. Sorry about that, man. I should know your Twitter handle. I go to you a lot. It's another guy. Boy, yes. If you know his draft.
Draft Bible crew, dude.
Oh, I listen to their podcasts. But he was like, no, look at how he's winning his stuff, and you'll see it doesn't really translate. And he did okay this year, actually. You know, I don't know second, round pick worthy or first round pick worthy, but he definitely was somewhere in between the fourth and the second round. You know, he fluctuated. But man, when I was watching his highlights, I'm like, dude, this guy's top 10. His size, his ability to move inside, this and that. And then I dove deeper when I was told, no, dude, you need to dive deeper. And then Jeff Kavanaugh was like, no, you really need to, like, this guy's actually not very good. I had to look out, and I ended up giving him I think a into the third, early fourth round grade on a guy I had top 10 because I was looking at his highlights.
Right. It makes a lot of sense, Manny. I appreciate you sharing that knowledge there, Mike. You know, here we are on our next topic, and we're going to go with our one word, of course, sticking with the playoff theme. And Mike, I want you to give me one word to describe the Kansas City's fourth quarter failed red zone attempt. A bit of a mouthful there.
Strategery. If you follow SNL, you know that joke. Strategery. Okay. Will Ferrell would do the George W. Bush. Strategery. and I just believe Bengals got him. Bengals got him with that 8-man front or that eight-man front. Oof. Tyreek Hill would be killing that. That 8-man coverage fooled them, and he tried to hold the ball a long time to wait for somebody to get open. And finally, somebody got to him and sacked him and made him fumble. And they had to settle for the tying field goal, and the rest is history.
Yeah, Mike. With close to 2 minutes left, multiple timeouts on Cincinnati's 11-yard line, Kansas City ran 3 plays and gained a total of 7 yards. Then proceeded to get sacked on back-to-back plays, losing 22 yards and costing yourself a trip to the Super Bowl. Kansas City's fourth quarter failed red zone possession was horrendous. You said it earlier on the pod. I was worried that was your one word.
No, I had a real word. Strategery.
Oh man, Will Ferrell. I hope he makes it one more classic before he hangs it up, if he ever does.
The Shrink Next Door, while not like hilariously funny, is a good show on Apple TV, and it has funny parts in that. Like, just Paul Rudd and Will Ferrell are just so good. I definitely recommend watching it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get Apple TV one of these days, sir.
It's good. It's good. They have a lot. Defending Jacob, Foundation. They have the Lasso. I haven't started yet, so I don't know. But they have like a couple good movies on there. Like, it's definitely worth. So I think it's $4.99 a month. It's not bad.
I love the John Hamm commercial where he's like in his living room.
I don't watch commercials, so it's funny. I saw that for the first time yesterday because I had the playoffs on, and my brother came in and I go, "You see this playoff commercial with John Hamm? That shit is hilarious." And he was like, "That commercial's been out. What are you talking about?" And I'm like, "I had no idea. I'd never heard it before." He's like, "That commercial's been out for a while, dude." I was like, "I don't watch them. I don't know."
Shout out to Mad Men, dude. Classic series.
You know, I've only seen the first season.
Wow, really?
I'm going to. It's on the list, but I'm still on season 4 of Sopranos, I think. So it's, some stuff I get behind. It's funny. I talk smack like, why aren't you caught up on this stuff? But when stuff ends and I haven't seen it, sometimes it takes, I'm like, it's over now. I don't have to like catch up to it,
Dude, Sopranos, man, it's about to become hard to watch, bro, but you got to just push through, dude.
I have so many. I'm watching, I just finished today, Mayor of Kingstown. Pretty good show. I liked it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that looked pretty good.
Paramount.
Yeah, Paramount Plus. That's another good streaming service as well.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, shout out to you for this week's top 5, Mike. We're going back to one of our favorite discussions. We're talking about food, of course, but we're talking about one of the best meals of the day, breakfast. And we're going to rank our top 5 breakfast dishes. So, Mike, start us off. What's your number 5?
No, I gotta tell this story. Okay, so when we first started at Daphne's, Muhammad hired a person, and it was an Asian gentleman, and his name was spelled out Yo, but his name was called Yu. That was his name. So he didn't make it there or anything. But forever, anytime somebody was like, hey, I made you some fries. You'd be like, oh, Yu's here? Like, we did that for like, it literally annoyed everyone. Everybody was like, we got to stop doing this. And so when you were like, shout out to you for the top 5, I so badly just wanted to go, oh, you got the top 5 from you? How'd you know you? But you wouldn't have got the joke. So if my friend Muhammad was here, I totally would have done that just to get the gig. He would have started laughing so hard. It's great. Oh, where am I? 5. Sorry.
No, you're good. I always love a good story, sir. I just wish I knew who this person was now.
I know. Just the name. Because my for like another thing my friend does is he'll go like, he says, better you. And that means telling me like, hey, don't forget the chick or the grill's better you. And so he's walking by one time and he's all, hey, Mike, I left something better you over there. And the guy goes, huh? I was dying. And this guy doesn't know why we're laughing because he wasn't talking to him, but he heard you. Was like, huh? Oh, I was rolling, dude.
Was he a cool guy? Before we get into it, was he a cool guy at least?
Yeah, he was. He like stood around and like we're right next to Judy's Donuts, which golly, so hard. But they would give free donuts all the time. That guy would just be standing around eating. Every time you look, the guy just standing there eating a donut. We're like, dude, my old ass should not be outworking you, dude. I have no legs, no rotator cuffs. You should be doing the work. I should be sitting around doing nothing.
Yeah.
All right, top 5. The 5th one's kind of an easy one. It's breakfast burrito. I'm going to break it down, though, because it must have bacon, sausage, potatoes, cheese. Don't ever give me that either or. You want bacon or you want sausage in it? You get both because otherwise it's a bullshit breakfast burrito. It has to have both. You can also add chorizo beans and taco hot sauce, whatever you want to call it, are all great in there, but the basic has to be bacon, sausage, potatoes, cheese. If that's in it, you're gravy. Once you go from there, you can add stuff on. But got to get the breakfast burrito. It's love. My freezer's full of like 20 of them because I make them in big batches and freeze them so everybody can grab one. So definitely had to make the list.
And do you have a preference on cheese there, Mike?
I would probably use pepper jack myself. A little spice. Not a lot, mild, but just to give it has some flavor in there.
Right. You know, Mike, number 5 for me, I'm going really old school. I'm going biscuits and gravy, sir.
Love it. It's a kind of upcoming. There's a dish that involves biscuits and gravy that's upcoming. So it's coming up on mine too. You just got to get the sausage gravy right. And don't give me no light pepper. I want to see the pepper in the gravy. I want to see it in there. It's got to be littered with pepper.
One of my bigger challenges with the gravy has been getting it to like that right consistency where it's not too thick, but it's also not too like runny. That's been my biggest problem with making it, dude.
My issue is the white color because I brown the sausage up real. I wanted a dark, nice brown. Like I wanted to get a sear and get that flavor out. Then you add the stock and the cream, and it's like, no matter how much cream you get, it's still that little bit of off-white, where in the restaurant, straight white color because they like make the gravy and then add sausage to it. They're not cooking the sausage before they make the gravy. So, it's the visual is the problem for me.
Have you ever had the red eye gravy where they put coffee in it?
Hell yeah. I make it.
I never have, and that I want to try it so bad. I want to make it.
It brings depth. It brings like depth to it. It's good. Definitely recommend.
All right, Mike. So number 4, moving on to number 4. Number 4 on my list is I'm going with my wife's homemade pigs in a blanket, sir.
Love it. And you get the wife in there. Now, how does she roll it? Does she make the dough? Is it biscuit dough? Is it croissant dough?
No, croissant dough, canned. We even use store brand, but dude, the croissants takes it to another level, dude.
Has to. That's what I was going to say too. It's got to be the croissant. So your wife does it right. I had no doubt. If she can get you, she had to never do the pigs in the blanket right. Use croissant dough. That's how you do it.
Absolutely. What's number 4 on your list?
Number 4 for me is chicken fried steak, eggs, and biscuits and gravy. It's called a Tom's Scramble at the place that I get it at the most. And it's basically the only difference is it's scrambled eggs where I'll have fried, I'll have poached. I don't care. But you put the biscuits on the bottom. The chicken fried steak goes on top of the biscuits, gravy over top of that, and then however you want the eggs on top of that. And then you cut through all of it and get it all in one bite. Bro, all day.
Chicken fried steak and eggs is so clutch, dude.
Dude, it's imagine that's my 4th. So imagine how good my next 3 are.
Yeah, I have. I'm not sure what direction you're going, but I'd like to think you have at least one sweet thing on here. So what's number 3?
I don't. My honorable mention was crepes that are filled with cream cheese and they're called huckleberries. They're like blueberries, but the place that you get them is huckleberries. That was my one sweet one, but I'm not. I like sweet breakfast, but I'm more of I like Mexican. As you'll see coming up, I like Mexican style breakfast. I like spice.
Great line, sir. Yeah,
I love it. I'm at 3. Blaze of Glory, it's called. It's from a place here in Fresno called Benediction. They have a food truck and a brick and mortar, and what it is a English muffin, a piece of bacon, tomato, fresh mozzarella cheese, spinach, fried egg, and a pesto hollandaise sauce, and then it's topped with a little bit of dashes of hot sauce.
Oh, man, dude.
It is unbelievable. It is so good. The pesto hollandaise.
Holy cow, dude. I love pesto so much, dude.
Sweet and spicy and smoky and crispy. Oh, God. It's unbelievable.
So, Mike, number 3, I'm kind of sticking with the homemades here. I like to watch a lot of cooking things on YouTube just to get ideas for what to make at home, like easy, quick, like weeknight recipes. And there's this one woman that I follow. She's a like stay-at-home mom, so of course she kind of sticks with casseroles, crock pot dishes, things like that. Well, she did a breakfast themed episode, and she made these things with refrigerated pie crust, and they're these little mini quiches. And that's number 3 on my list. It's going to be a homemade mini quiche. You can do your Western omelet. My personal favorite has been the bacon, spinach, and mushroom with like a Monterey Jack cheese. I'm going homemade mini quiches, sir. You like quiche?
Yes, it's a frittata with a pie crust, man. What's not to like?
Exactly, dude.
We used to do end of the week frittatas where it would be go through the drawer of vegetables and whatever was about to turn,
right,
chop it up, put it in the frittata, and I'd make it, put whatever cheese we had from doing quesadillas or pizzas or whatever, top it on top, put it in there. We'll just add a pie crust to it.
Dude, so freaking good.
What do you want? Especially if you can get a good pie crust.
Yeah.
Pie crust at the one you get bakes up really nice all day, bro.
Yeah, we just use Pillsbury. We'll like kind of cut them up and put them in muffin tins and then make the mini quiches like that. It's so good, dude.
Pillsbury's bomb. The Pillsbury pie crusts are bomb as hell. They bake really well too.
Yeah, they really, really do. All right, so moving on to number 2, sir. Number 2 on my list. I'm going eggs Benedict, but I prefer eggs Benny with crab. And of course, it has to come with the side of like the fried potatoes. And it's hard to find a good hollandaise sauce, dude. Unless you go to a brunch somewhere, like at a kind of a like casual dining or even close to upscale. Or when I take a trip to California, and I've actually never tried to make hollandaise sauce myself.
It's
my wife doesn't really care for eggs, so it's like, I don't want to make it for myself, but I love, love, love eggs Benedict. Every time I go to brunch, I get eggs Benedict.
Fresno has great hollandaise, or California has great hollandaise sauces. They do a good job. I love eggs Benedict. Let me ask you, okay, so give me your breakdown. Is it ham or bacon? Is it Canadian bacon, ham, pancetta?
I would say, if I'm going that route, if I don't get crab, definitely Canadian bacon.
Okay, yeah, so traditional. Now the crab, is it a crab cake or do you like it with fresh crab?
No, like the jumbo lump crab.
I got to try that. I've tried the crab cake Benedict. I've never tried it with just crab on there.
Yeah. Crab cake would be phenomenal, dude.
Oh, it's good. And then you do a Cajun hollandaise sauce. So you do a hollandaise sauce, but you put like a ton of Old Bay, some smoked paprika, cayenne pepper in there. And it's like a spicy Cajun, like a remoulade hollandaise.
Oh, wow.
On top of it.
Dude, imagine the Thanksgiving leftovers Benedict.
Oh, I'm doing that now. I will do that. I promise you, I will do that. When we talk about the Cowboys Thanksgiving game, win next this coming up season, yes, I will have that and I will tell you about it. 100%.
Please take a picture, dude. That'll be phenomenal.
I will. 100%. Is it me?
Yes, sir. It's you.
All right, number 2. What I did is I marked down chili verde. And the reason I did that is I take white meat chili verde and I cook it, or a white meat chicken. I make chili verde with it. It basically is no points for the whole thing because white meat chicken's no points and chili verde is all vegetables. So it's only really the oil you drizzle, and it's not enough when you make a big batch of chili verde. It's not enough to really count when you use a little bit. But I use that chili verde in omelets. I put tacos where I put eggs and the chili verde in there. Probably my favorite, if you made me narrow down one, chilaquiles. Just the tortilla chips.
Yes, sir.
The chili verde and the sauce over it, and then scrambled eggs or fried eggs on top. Amazing. That's my 2 is the chili verde. I love that. Ugh.
Mexican breakfast is it's unbeatable, dude.
Unbeatable. It wakes you up. It wakes up your palate. It gets you ready for the morning. It's so good. Ugh.
That's the best way to start your day off, honestly, if you're going breakfast.
Yep. I love it. They even have like breakfast. Well, I guess that is chilaquiles, but there's this place called Chubby's Diner that has like chili verde nachos, but they do it breakfast style. But it's a little different than chili Achilles because it has the cheese and the layers you would have in nachos too.
All right, Mike, here we are at number one. Give us your number one on your list.
Corned beef hash Benedict.
Oh my God.
It is so
what?
Bro. It is
wow.
good. So it's corned beef hash and forget that you make the corned beef and then the disgusting billion calorie can of corned beef hash that's 10 pounds you gain when you have one of them. Get that, put it in a cast iron skillet, put your seasonings on it, whatever you want. Maybe you add a little bit more potato, but get that crisped up on both sides, put it down, poach an egg, put it down, slices of avocado on there too, and then hollandaise sauce over it, and then really, really crispy hash browns or country potatoes. And cut into that poached egg, and the yolk goes, and the hollandaise, and bro, if you just want a treat, it's a million calories. It is you got to have it like once a month. It's like your cheat day in one meal. Hollandaise is a ton of points. That canned corned beef hash. Don't make corned beef hash. I'm gonna make it with the leftovers. No, it's shit. That's shit. The canned stuff. There's a reason it's done like that. It's the best. Put it in there. Do it. Deal with the calories. Work out harder that day. It's all worth it. It's the best.
Work out after taking your nap, right?
Yes. Oh God. Seriously. It's so good. It was like when I picked top 5, it's because I wanted to talk about that dish. When I picked the breakfast, it was like, I got to tell Paul about that. So then I ran through the rest after that.
Mike, number one for me, and it's, kind of going with the theme of your top 5, but I'm going with a Mexican breakfast plate, and I'm going to get more specific here. So it's got to have, I typically get huevos a la mexicana, and of course, for those who don't know, it's going to be like your scrambled eggs with your jalapenos, tomatoes, and onions. Sometimes you can get it with ham or bacon, but typically I just get it a la mexicana, no meat, and then you have to have the side of refried beans. And then there's this one place, I don't see too many Mexican restaurants doing this, especially during breakfast time, but they do like these stewed potatoes, breakfast potatoes that are like, they cook it with jalapenos and tomatoes and onions. So really set the flavor off, and they're nice and soft. And of course, you've got your homemade like flour and corn tortillas. That's my perfect breakfast, dude.
When they come
up, I always get both. But if I could only choose one at breakfast, give me flour. I hate to say it, but give me flour.
I'm a corn guy, but I don't mind. I eat either one. This is not something where you're going to get me bashing flour tortillas. I'll destroy them. I just typically pick corn because it's what I have tacos with.
Yeah, if I'm going tacos, like street tacos, definitely give me corn all day, every day. But there's something about the flour tortilla, like the homemade flour tortilla and the perfect refried bean combination, dude.
You want to know what I love? Because we all do it, right? We stack that refried beans in there, and then we put whatever the meat or whatever we want in there, and the potatoes and everything. We put sauce on, and we get it, and it's hanging out here. And we have to catch it as it comes, and then when you take a bite, it starts falling out the back, and it's running down your hand because you're trying to hold it and keep it in the taco, and now it's pressed like this, and you're trying to get another bite in there before you've even finished the other one. Man.
I love saving like a little bit of everything, and that you get that last little combo bite, dude, at the end.
Has to. You do it.
Perfection.
It's just like Skittles. As far as you can, you get one of every color, and then you take that bite, and then one of every color, and you take that. And then at the end, you're like, son of a bitch. Well, with your breakfast, you can control it. That last bite's got to be composed of everything. That's the last bite you want.
And then what always sets it off is that perfect breakfast salsa.
Yes, must. When I do the chili verde stuff, it's always with some kind of, salsa verde, or I like salsa verde because it mixes well with the chili verde because they're kind of the same sauce. But you get the rojo for a little bit extra spice. yeah, you got to have it, man. It's a little bit of heat at the end.
I want to do an honorable mention. I'm gonna have to add this. It's a sweet thing, but it's the German pancake. It's like a crepe, but then it's filled up with fresh lemon juice and powdered sugar. My goodness, dude!
I've never
best thing you'll ever have.
I've never.
Well, whenever you come to Texas, we'll go down. We'll go on to shout out to Old South Pancake House. Good coffee and home of the German pancake.
So what? It has lemon juice in it, just like
fresh lemon juice squeezed. They squeeze it right at the table, dude. They bring a whole lemon, squeeze it, fold it for you, and then put the powdered sugar. Oh God, bro,
that's awesome.
So good. You wouldn't expect a presentation like this from a place like that either.
That's great. I'm in. When I go down there, we're going there for one breakfast. I want to try it.
Absolutely. All right, Micah, it's getting late, but we had one prospect we wanted to discuss, and I thought I was gonna get one by you, one that you hadn't heard of, and you're gonna have to start studying. But of course, who am I to trick the trickster here? Of course, you asked the one and only Jeff Kavanaugh if he's seen this player. So talk to us a little bit about prospect Jermaine Johnson, edge from Florida State. Here we'll discuss his pros, cons, what he adds to the defense, what he needs to work on. Is he a realistic target for Dallas, and what round and letter grade you would give him?
All right, so I'll start with he's the player that I'm doing my next prospect thing on for Cowboys Wire. I absolutely love him. I got to be honest, he might be my second favorite edge in this draft.
Oh, wow.
I might end up putting, like, the problem is he only has 1 year of tape. He was in the junior college leagues for academic stuff early. He went to Georgia.
Guy.
Yes.
Was he a JUCO guy? Okay.
Yeah, correct. He goes to Georgia and he plays part-time, but watch the Alabama games, the only game I watched from 2020. He gives Evan Neal fits. And Evan Neal might be the first overall pick this year. Evan Neal? Yeah. And so, man, he gives them fits. And then he gets a full-time role at Florida State this last year. He's just a monster. My comp for him is Tank, our guy DeMarcus Lawrence, because he will be a edge setter day one in the NFL. He'll be able to hold up against most tackles setting an edge. He has length. He has enough strength. He understands what teams are trying to do and how to get in front of it in time. Like he's not a linebacker processor. He had to play some linebacker now in Georgia, but he doesn't have that kind of go get it processing. But at the edge position, he understands how to beat people to the spot to set the edge. So I love his run style, and I believe he does. He's going to be like Tank in a way where he'll get you an 8-sack season. He'll get you a 10-sack season. He'll get a lot of pressures every year. His get off is inconsistent, but he's got a good first step. And if he does get off the ball quick, he's good around the corner, but his flexibility is a little limited. So if he misses on his get off, if he's not right off the snap, he can get swallowed up some. He's not overly strong, but he has a good pass rush move set already at a young age. He has hand counters. He knows how to use his hands so he can get around people. Really, his only weakness is that'll drop him down the board is the 1 year thing. And he's not a burner off the edge. Like, there's some guys that get off the edge so fast that even if they miss their first step, they could just beat you around the corner. He doesn't have that kind of flexibility and bend, but he can, if his first step's on, he doesn't have many false steps. He can bend the corner. He knows how to flatten. He's great with his hands. I like him a lot. And he's projected like second round. And I just think in high school, he ran between a 4.4 and a 4.5. Yeah. If he runs somewhere like 4.56 with his size and length and everything, he might go top 20. He's just one of those guys that you're trying. I'm literally trying to poke holes in some of his game so that I can make a weaknesses section. And it's just hard because he's not weak at anything. It's hard to say weak. Like
right.
you would go, there's players that are weak in coverage, 2 down line, a one technique is weak in pass rush. Great on the first 2 downs, great run stopper, but he's a weak pass rusher. He doesn't add a lot. He doesn't penetrate. He doesn't gap shoot. He doesn't really have a weakness. You need him to set an edge. Got it. He played in a little bit of coverage. Like he could be a 3-4 linebacker for Georgia. He was, and he had to play a little bit of zone. He was fine. Not great. It's a weak point, I guess, like compared to his other stuff, but he can do it and he could develop in it. Good around the edge. He has the size. He has enough strength. Could he run through, Mulata? Maybe not. Mulata's pretty strong. But can he beat most guys with his length and his combo of length and strength? Sure. So I just have a feeling when all's said and done, there's a lot of places that have him like the 7th or 8th edge, not in the top 5. I have a feeling he could be in the top 5 by the time the combine and everything's over. He could be a top 5 edge in this class. He doesn't have a lot of weakness. I really like Jermaine Johnson.
He sounds like one of those players where you don't really have a lot of needs on your team. You're looking for somebody to help you year one, and it's kind of like a safe pick. Maybe I hate to say limited ceiling because I don't know what you think his upside might be, but it's somebody that you plug in right away and he's going to help you year one. He kind of sounds like one of those players.
Yeah, he may not be a Von Miller, Micah Parsons type, but I mean, DeMarcus Lawrence got $20 million in this league because he had that 2 years where he went 8.5 sacks, 10.5 sacks. And if he gets you 8 to 12 sacks, he's all pro worthy because he's gonna play run well. He's gonna get you tackles for a loss. He can move from 4-3 in to a stand up, pass rusher. Like he's very 5 tool, and he doesn't. I would say his best tool is edge setting right now because he's so lengthy. He's very good with his length, and he has enough strength to hold up and the length to shed and tackle radius. But if he gets you 8-10 sacks, you got like a stud in that player. So I love Jermaine Johnson, the second. Jermaine Johnson, the second.
Well, we lose Randy Gregory, but we draft Jermaine Johnson. How you feeling?
I feel like Micah Parsons is going to need to work a lot more on the edge because Tank's going to move inside a lot. Parsons is going to come on the edge, and then Jermaine Johnson will be an edge rusher on the edge. I don't know if he'll ever be the pass rusher Randy Gregory is on pass rush ability. I think he'd be a better overall defensive end. Like if you don't just look at sack numbers, that DeMarcus Lawrence is a better pass rusher than Randy Gregory. He's a better defensive end, I should say, than Randy Gregory. More pressures, more tackles for loss, stuff like that. But if people look, you'd go, well, Randy Gregory's good off the ball, blah, 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 blah. Well, I think Jermaine Johnson will always be like that. He'll always be the guy that's like, undervalued because you'll see like
6 sacks.
Yeah, you'll have a season or two where he'll have 6.5 sacks, and you'll be like, oh, he's not performing sack-wise. But his pressure numbers and his pass rush win rate are as good as top 10 edge rushers. He doesn't have that over ability in strength or flexibility to get there every time, even when he wins. But man, the way he's going to play the run and the way he'll pressure people is going to be really well worth a first-round pick. Which is my grade on him. He's a first-round grade for me.
Could he realistically be there at 24?
Right now, people would say yes. I think by the end of the draft process, he'll be one of those guys that if he gets to 24, it's a no-brainer, especially when you look at what Will McClay likes. Florida State, big school.
Exactly.
That's not an issue. Plays in big games. Used to a big crowd. Cowboys Stadium won't be a problem. He was a 4-star recruit coming into college, which is a big thing for Will McClay too. They like guys that have been high value prospects for a long time. Playing for Georgia and Florida State, like I said, So the value will be there. It's at a position that they value as first round position. So, yeah, I think it's very possible that if he made it to 24, he'd be the pick.
Very, very nice. Well, Mike, man, it was a good discussion tonight, sir.
I loved it, man. Loved it.
Well, while we're getting you out of here, remind the people where they can find you on Twitter, sir.
At CD Piglet, guys. Nice and easy. Letter C, letter D, Piglet.
Guys, I'm Paul Ryan. You can find me on Twitter at Paul_Ryan15. We appreciate you joining us, and we'll see you guys next week.
I'm hungry. Let's go.